The last sunset we watched together looked so ordinary that no one would have guessed it was about to change two lives forever. My wife turned toward me with tired eyes that still carried the same warmth I had fallen in love with 27 years earlier. She smiled softly and whispered that she had no regrets. I smiled back, but inside I was carrying a secret so heavy it felt impossible to breathe. Tomorrow would bring a truth she never expected, and by the time she learned it, neither of us would ever see our marriage the same way again. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone you love, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that touch hearts around the world. My name is Michael Carter, and this happened in the quiet town of Franklin, Tennessee. My wife, Rebecca, had spent years believing our life was simple. We lived in a modest white house surrounded by maple trees, drank coffee together every morning, and watched the seasons pass from our front porch. To anyone passing by, we were just another older couple enjoying retirement. But appearances rarely tell the whole story. 3 years earlier, Rebecca had been diagnosed with a rare heart condition. The doctors did everything they could, but every appointment ended with another warning. That time was becoming precious. She accepted the news with unbelievable grace. She never complained about the medications, the endless hospital visits, or the pain that slowly stole pieces of her strength. Instead, she focused on making every ordinary day feel extraordinary. She baked cookies for the neighborhood children, knitted blankets for newborn babies, and somehow found the energy to encourage everyone around her. The only thing Rebecca regretted, though she never admitted it aloud, was believing she had never truly made a difference. She often said our lives had been too ordinary to leave a lasting mark. Every time she spoke those words, my heart broke because I knew something she didn't. For nearly 2 years, I had been secretly preparing something that had become my life's greatest mission. While Rebecca rested after treatments, I drove across the state meeting people whose lives she had unknowingly transformed over the years. Former students she had inspired as an elementary school teacher. Single mothers she had quietly helped pay rent. Veterans she had written letters to every Christmas. Families she had comforted after unimaginable losses. One by one, they shared stories Rebecca had completely forgotten, but stories they carried in their hearts every single day. I recorded every memory, every tear, every laugh, every thank you. There were hundreds. The project consumed every spare hour I had. I sold my vintage motorcycle, worked part-time despite retirement, and even learned basic video editing from teenagers at the local library. I wanted to give Rebecca something no amount of money could ever buy. I wanted her to see her life through the eyes of everyone she had loved, without expecting anything in return. That was why I smiled when she told me she had no regrets. Tomorrow, she would finally understand that her ordinary life had created extraordinary miracles. The next afternoon, friends began arriving at the community center, one after another. Rebecca thought we were attending a small church fundraiser. Instead, she walked into a room filled with more than 300 people, standing in complete silence. Some she recognized immediately. Others looked familiar, only after years had changed their faces. Then, the lights dimmed. The screen came alive. One by one, strangers became memories. A young firefighter explained that Rebecca had encouraged him when he was a frightened fourth grader, who believed he would never accomplish anything. A mother described how Rebecca had secretly bought groceries during the hardest winter of her family's life. A doctor confessed that Rebecca's belief in him after a failed exam had kept him from giving up on medical school. Every story ended the same way. Because of Rebecca, my life changed. Rebecca covered her mouth as tears streamed down her cheeks. She kept shaking her head, as though she couldn't believe any of it. She whispered over and over that she had simply been doing what anyone should do, but everyone in that room knew the truth. Not everyone chooses kindness. Not everyone notices people who are hurting. Not everyone gives expecting nothing in return. Rebecca had. When the final video ended, something even more remarkable happened. People began walking onto the stage, carrying handwritten letters. Hundreds of them, children, grandparents, nurses, police officers, teachers, and neighbors formed a line that stretched across the building. Every letter contained one sentence, explaining how Rebecca had changed, aged. Life forever. By the time the last person finished speaking, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Rebecca looked at me with the same smile she had worn on our wedding day. She reached for my hand and held it tightly without saying a word. She didn't need to. For the first time since her diagnosis, I saw peace replace fear in her eyes. That evening, as we drove home beneath the Tennessee stars, she finally broke the silence. She told me she had spent years believing she hadn't accomplished anything extraordinary. Now she understood that the greatest achievements often happen quietly, through simple acts of compassion, repeated over a lifetime. Her health continued to decline over the following months, but something inside her had changed forever. She no longer wondered whether her life had mattered. She knew. When Rebecca passed away the following spring, more than 1,000 people attended her memorial service. Stories continued for hours. Strangers hugged each other like family because one woman had taught them all the same lesson: kindness never disappears. It simply keeps growing in places we may never see. Years have passed since then, but every birthday and every Christmas, new letters still arrive at my mailbox. Some come from people I have never met. Others are from adults who were once frightened children sitting in Rebecca's classroom. Every letter reminds me that love leaves footprints time can never erase. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your support allows these stories of faith, love, and compassion to reach even more people. Special request: before this story ends, please leave a comment with the words, "Kindness lives forever." We'd love to know who is standing with us in spreading compassion. Rebecca once believed her life had been ordinary. In reality, it had become extraordinary because she chose kindness when no one was watching. And perhaps that is the greatest legacy any of us can leave behind: not wealth, not fame, but hearts made stronger because we were here.